what would you say if I told you this is an RTS game which lets you once again enjoy base building and combat gameplay that is similar to that of Warcraft 3, with heroes, items, skills and usual creeps included, but with lore that isn't far off from Warhammer 40k. This means Liquidation is quite a mix, I know, and more importantly it works, and in this latest version of its demo it is already fun to play. I was also able to try some of its campaign missions, but it's not yet ready for public showing, so both its sole developer and I agreed that the showcase should keep to only its Skirmish and Multiplayer game modes. Its interwoven campaigns are already on the right track and looking good, don't get me wrong, but there is a point about keeping the storytelling experience for a more complete showing. Anyway, another interesting and probably little known bit of info about this game is that the sole developer of Liquidation isn't also its original developer. It changed hands due to reasons outside their control and since then also found a publisher in Microprose. They are supporting the game, which seems to be carried on its own strengths and by word of mouth from interested players. So this is where I come in and also take it upon myself to occasionally remind you of Liquidation's existence. This latest demo version is the perfect opportunity for that, so let's dive in, and as I said, you will find some of this very familiar. I don't see it as bad, because as long as it's not a clone, but inspired by, I am all for game devs reusing ideas for games we loved or still love playing to this day. Naturally, I also love new ideas, features or quality of life improvements of those old concepts, which is why I will point out some of them in Liquidation as well. And one of the main changes from the gameplay you might be used to is the fact that organic and mechanical units in Liquidation don't just function differently and have quite different styles of combat, armor and upgrades, but also don't share the same population cap. So here you have a limit/population cap for infantry units and a maintenance limit for mechanical units, which are mostly large and even huge and often have impressive attack range. That range is often also balanced out by the need for them to set up before shooting, which is something found in a few heroes and ranged infantry units. Passing a certain threshold with the infantry, you do run into diminishing returns from resource collection, which is a sort of large army tax on your economy, and it also allows for the opponent to catch up after losing a battle, meaning it's basically an anti-snowball mechanic. Raising the infantry population cap is delegated to a single building for each faction, and one of them, the Legion, can even upgrade it with defensive weapons. The other two factions are Crusade and Scourge, but the maintenance limit for mechanical units is raised by upgrading and constructing new HQ buildings. What is even more interesting is that you can increase the income from one of the resources, Coinerium, the blue crystals, by upgrading the HQ building. This gives you a double incentive to pay for this upgrade in each new expansion you construct. The other resource is called Nectar and has just one node per resource spot, but the second HQ upgrade gives it an income boost. While Nectar is also used for tech research, a few basic units can be produced without using it. I have played on all three currently available maps, 1v1s on Delta and Outlands, while 2v2 team matches on the Mire and with all three factions. One of these maps is set up for a victory point system game mode, meaning you capture monoliths on the map and gain points. The first player to gain the set maximum wins the match. Each of these maps also has its own unique biome, main color palette and lots of neutral mobs to farm for both XP for your heroes to level up and items to boost their stats. This is where the game heavily leans on familiar gameplay from Warcraft 3, so you will be able to find yourself right at home. Of course, if you enjoy such gameplay, so do let me know in the comments, would this be a deal breaker for you? Currently, you can get only 2 heroes to play with no matter which faction you choose, and each has up to 4 different active or passive skills to level up and use against enemies or buff your allies with. Obviously, the fourth one is the most powerful, and there is great variety between those across the factions and their heroes. They feel well balanced, spend their heroes' mana quickly, and don't change the course of battle on their own. The only thing I would like to see is for their visual effects to be refined, and there are some elements that obviously haven't been finished yet. Units are similarly balanced so that every unit has a counter for it, and high-tier vehicles are almost considered super weapons and limited to just a handful for this very reason. There are also EMP grenades, which can shut down these mechanical units for a time, as well as buildings. There is one feature from Warcraft 3 maps you won't find here, and that is neutral buildings, so no buying items, heroes or units, and no regenerating your mana or health from fountains. There are, however, items which can do this both instantly and over time. Some let you spawn in units or just buff hero stats like intelligence, constitution, dexterity and stamina. There are many more such hero and unit stats. The in-depth system of armor and weapon damage even has 6 different types: slashing, piercing, magic, shocking, elemental and siege. These deal different levels of damage against the 6 different types of armor, which are light, medium, heavy, structure, vehicle and heroic, meaning there is a surprising level of depth and finesse once you learn the basics and are ready to go deeper into the gameplay. In addition to this, most units can be upgraded with a passive or active ability, giving you additional options in combat or making these units more powerful as you upgrade the HQ to its 2nd and 3rd level and unlock these tech options. So it can be viewed as a tech-heavy game, but if you invest too many resources into research, you can easily find yourself overwhelmed by the enemy who is producing a lot of cheap units. Meaning there is another level of play open to you: small high-tech armies versus large low-tech armies. What I found very welcoming as a veteran RTS player in Liquidation are the default controls and keybinds, because all the build menus as well as hero abilities follow the grid based on WASD and other keys in that section of the keyboard, making it easy to play every faction and not have to remember faction specific shortcuts. Of course, out of habit, when doing game showcases like this, I mostly just use the mouse so you can see what I am clicking on and the tooltips, which are often quite detailed, especially when it comes to those describing unit or tech upgrades. Another great quality of life feature are rally points from buildings, which can be set on units or heroes, and even for those unit recruitment buildings still under construction. The developer plans to make it so that if your hero dies while having a rally point on him, it will revert back to default, but once you resurrect your hero, the rally points from buildings will automatically reattach themselves to him. If he could make it so that newly trained units also enter the control group that hero is in automatically, that would be just perfect. Similarly, I was surprised to find an extra ability bar between the unit selection window and the unit order window, which is designed to be filled up with active abilities of all units currently in your selection. But you can also use the tab key to cycle through different types of units in your current selection. Such options are very welcome, especially for multiplayer enthusiasts, and show the depth of understanding the sole developer has for our need for advanced game controls. One thing which annoyed me, however, and which needs to be fixed, is how units would block my attempts to construct a new building and I had to move them out of the way manually. This should happen automatically, and units should be able to move out of the way when I'm trying to place a new building. In multiplayer, you will find a working chat and a ping system helping you play together if you aren't using voice chat in the background. Additionally, there is a matchmaking queue system for multiplayer, so you can quickly jump into new PvP matches if you don't want to spend time setting them up manually. Another fan favorite feature that is already implemented in the game are replays. You can load one up, play, pause, speed up to 16 times, with frame drops of course, and you can also slow down the game to just quarter speed. Clicking on the other player from a drop-down list lets you switch the perspective you're watching in the replay. Of course, as any other solo-developed game, this one too has its fair share of annoying or funny bugs. Some of the massive mechanical units don't find a way out of your base if there is little room between buildings and keep trying to go one way instead of just going out of the base from the other side. Heroes and units can get stuck on terrain and run in place until you manually change their movement path and direction. Because of the knockdown effect some abilities or spells have, I noticed units occasionally getting stuck in between trees they wouldn't be able to reach otherwise. And if I use certain zoomed in camera levels, I would end up getting command of several units from a single click, even when not using a selection box. I have already given my feedback on these to the developer, and I'm not pointing them out to belittle the game, but show you its current version, warts and all. You probably noticed there are no naval or air units in the game right now, and very few stealth options, which do give extra damage to the first attack when coming out of stealth. As disappointed as you might get, I have to tell you there are no plans right now to add naval or air units into Liquidation. There is certainly more to this game already, so I hope this showcase made you even more interested about it. And the sole developer is not done in the least. I have to say that this version is already a great leap forward from the one I played a while back, and I hope you will make sure to wishlist and follow it on Steam. As for more games, check out the cards on the screen or links in the description. Thank you for watching, and I wish you all happy gaming.